All right, trading day is over. As you can see, it had a pretty good day. This account took a loss that these didn't because I forgot to turn the copier on, so I actually got lucky there. But yeah, otherwise, group P&L is about 1800. Obviously, it doesn't matter because this is the eval. These two are still not at the buffer. This one's basically at the starting balance, but not quite. And this one obviously has a little bit of ways to go. So I'm gonna go over the first trade I took, which ended up being a loss on this one. Actually, I did take an overnight limit on YM. At like, so this is like 11. It was like 10:56. So yeah, pretty much 11 my time at this high because NQ was. So yeah, this time it was like right here. So I figured there's going to be SMT and that YM would just hold this kind of advanced premium discount area in this gap. So that's why my limit was pretty much right at EQ pretty much. And I got triggered eventually. But when I woke up, it was like, oh, did I not take a screenshot? Oh, but it's basically like, I was in profit for like $18. So I just got out. I think it was like around here. I got up early on just kind of coincidentally. And I was like, all right, at this point, NQ was all the way right here. So I'm like, all right, NQ is probably going to take the high out, which means my YM trade is going to be in some drawdown. So I'd rather just get out and just trade the session normally, which ended up being a good choice as YM. It'd probably still be in drawdown now. And I wouldn't really want to be holding through this. And it was like a 1.8 hour trade or something like that, just like to go into the day with more cushion or like a pyramid going into the session. But we never really got that strength switch because price action was not that clean. But anyways, going into gold. On the daily, we have a S&T with this high with the Forex pairs, and XAU Euro left these equal lows here. GBP did hit it, but it wasn't really showing any signs of reversal. So you can see there's retracement into the 6 hour gap on all of them. On the 4 hour, we have an SMT with these highs, which I like, but I did not see this SMT fill until after I was already in the trade. So we had this SMT between this fair value gap. Either way, I didn't really care because, all right, 1800 is a low a day. It's insignificant. There's like a few big candles, but they don't really mean anything to me. All right, so we have this SMT where gold is sweeping out the high, and then this SMT where I think silver was the one that took it out. So that was a strength switch to me inside of a gap. So it's also a 90-minute sequential SMT. So I got in down here and ended up stopping me out. You can see I'm basically making sure that silver actually closes. All right, following the rule of I need all assets to reverse. So all right, silver took out the high, and then waiting for it to reverse, it did. Right, and then I'm journaling, and then I get triggered in. All right, and then I check my copier, I think, or is it right here? And I see that they're not all on. So it's just this account that's in. Because I forgot to enable it. I kind of disable it just for like safety measures, but I don't really know why. It's not like it's pretty hard to take an accidental trade. So I got lucky there, and yeah, stopped me out pretty quick. I was gonna get out break even and then get back in with all the copiers, but it never even came back to break even. It just went straight to my stop loss, which was basically a blessing because if I got out break even, then I would have got back in anyways, and they all would have taken the loss. And yeah, I didn't notice the 4 hour S&T, so it's kind of sus. But yeah, I got lucky if it lost because only the leader account took the L. So it wasn't A plus. I should have taken it on gold. I really want to keep it down to only A plus trades on indices. I kind of can't help myself but to like take not random setups, but like I also have a tendency to overtrade more with indices and just kind of like accept it. But yeah, when I think I was also just trading too early. It was at like 8:15 that I entered the trade. I might like move the window to 9 o'clock like with indices. So that was a loss. And then I traded gold again and got break even on it. So it's basically the same trade except for, I don't know if I took a screenshot, but I guess not. You'll see in the video. So I actually went outside and I was just executing on my phone. So right, I got in here. Just the execution sound. Right. Got in again. I was outside on my phone, so It just shows up here because I was waiting for a closure like here or here. I finally got it here, and I finally came back in. All right, you see silver. All right, this is the first CSD. We leave SMT here, so that's a strength switch, and it's still reversing. It's looking very weak, so I think it looks like a pretty good trade. And let me go to that journal, I guess. So basically, because it was like basically disrespecting the SMT fill, so I thought that it was going to ignore it and then fill it anyways, which would lead to it going to the low of day. And it looked like a pretty good trade until we also had this 15-minute SMT fill on the way, which got validated anyways. We had this random ass like news spike. I don't know what it was. I think it was like some Iran news again as usual. All right, a little bit of drawdown, then came back down, and I did end up pyramiding about like one contract around here. So move my average down, move my stop loss, try to make more money on the trade. But basically ended up, I forgot the exact reason why. I think because like I wanted to trim my stop because it's all the way down here. Then it ends up closing up here. Yeah, so I was like, if it doesn't close, it's cooked. So I just put my stop here. And yeah, it's probably because I think it's because NQ made the equal highs, and I know like gold and NQ are obviously different markets, but they do have correlation, and I think even the timing is correlated somewhat. So yeah, like I said, I think it just needs NQ to take the high, and then the SMT break with the gap on silver doesn't make sense because I think silver already broke it, so it already disrespected it, so it needs to drop here really. And I ended up just getting out just because I was like, it's probably gonna take me out. I also would rather just focus on indices, so I just got out instead of taking like a half loss or whatever. And it ended up being a good choice as it did end up stopping me out, or would have stopped me out later. And now on to indices. So coming into the day. All right, so first off, let me show before the actual open, then like what I said before the open happened, because I was already playing this out. All right, so today I'm only looking for shorts. I get like we're at all-time high, so we could just pump, but there's no way I can long this. This daily profile is also really good for sells. All right, it's pretty lackluster on YM. We even have these equal lows. I might look at RTY before, but we do have these. So I'm just one-sided bearish, and I made this decision. All right, so the open is in about like 2 minutes. I'm just gonna say now that I'm not gonna trade the open. The 90-minute on every single asset is not in alignment, so I have to wait till like 10:30, maybe 10:10 if I want to fade this candle. But yeah, the 4-hour is not aligned, the 90-minute is not aligned, 6 hours not aligned. So I want to wait for an expansion candle, so I have to wait for 10:30, maybe 10:10 if this is closing as a reversal candle, and I can anticipate it, and I can have my stop loss high in the range. But yeah, just letting you know, I still want bearish prices. It's kind of high up already. It's not really advanced premium discount at this point because we're already a little bit above this, but we are still in that gap, so hopefully this can hold when NQ takes the high. Otherwise, if they all pump, then I probably can't catch that. All right, we just have these equal lows here on YM. Literally all of them 1800s low a day, so there's no way I'm longing today. And then gold still looks prime for shorts, just shit delivery. I don't really know if I'm gonna trade metals anymore. But yeah, just so you know, I'm not, when I cut to like 10 o'clock when the next recording starts. Yeah, so I did stay true to that. I did not take anything before. All right, the open happened. We had a strength switch actually, because, let me just fast forward a little bit. So this high over here, this 10 high, on YM, it actually takes it out right here. So that's kind of a strength switch. And then NQ does CSD away, but I don't care. I'm not going to pattern trade a strength switch with this high right here. And right, you can see like after a little bit, we're like not moving away. So I know it wants the high. I even like joked around that like you could take this to the high, which actually did end up playing out, especially if you like manipulated your risk reward to get 2R. Right, and obviously it went way beyond it. Never stopped expanding really. But one of my friends pointed out that there was something on RTY. So YM is down here, which Even though NQ is pretty large, I think YM's pretty good because the 4-hour candle has a small wick. The 6-hour is not aligned, but you can fade the 6-hour candle because the 4-hour had a small wick. And even when 1030 was opening up, that'd be a small wick on YM. Looks like it's skipping a little bit. But so right now, YM is the weakest in the triad among NQ, ES, and YM. So I take a look at RTY because my friend pointed it out, and it's even weaker. At the time, we had this 2-stage PSP with YM, so this 930 candle is bearish, while this is also the high of day, but on YM, this 930 candle is bullish, and we sweep out the high, so now 10 o'clock is the high. And obviously we're like kind of near London lows a little bit. YM still super high in the range. So I want RTY, but I'm just not sure when to take it exactly. I was thinking about getting in here and like holding a positional entry, which actually would have worked out for like 3R, but I decided to wait because I just didn't really trust it, especially because ES was looking really close to this high. I thought I was going to break SMT because using advanced premium discount, ES is deep in premium, so I think it's probably going to come up here. Not know if I wanted to take like a 15-minute universal sequence or a 30-minute. I ended up opting for a 30-minute, and at that point, RTY was showing that it actually did want it to take these lows because sometimes RTY just edges, and I don't really want to fade NQ bullishness when it's all-time high conditions. Like, even though the bearish framework is good, it can disregard that sometimes, but here it worked out, and yeah, so here I'm like literally like explaining it, like kind of contemplating which one to do. Basically what I just talked about. We did 2-stage PSP with YM, but it's like too small of a range to trust. So I opted to wait for the 30-minute, which at that point RTY closed through here. And I think I don't know what I waited for. I think because YM maybe closed through, right? It's when YM actually reverses too, then I'm pretty convinced in the move. So I set my limit. RTY gets pretty close to these lows. Oh, this is the lower execution. Yeah, we get kind of close, and then I manipulate the risk to reward to get 2R. So right, I'm a little bit above the retest. Right, they're all kind of reversing. Gold is, I don't really like, it's not A+ to me, so I'm kind of just gonna watch it. I was thinking about taking a limit on that gap, but I just left it, which it did get triggered, and right now it's in profit, but I'm not sure if it's gonna play out. Yeah, let's see when, where. All right, get triggered in. And I'm just sitting in this chop for like an hour. It's kind of crazy. Like, I was asking for like 11 points. Okay, so technically this doesn't count. I did end up deleting it later. Since this was the SMT, this is the really only order block. And I basically have no drawdown. Like after this move, everything goes down. Right, as soon as we CSD here, I move my stop here. And then it just chops for like an hour. It hit London lows, but I don't really care because I was aiming for a low a day. I want to make a new low on the daily candle. Right, obviously gold, a little tape read entry. And yeah, it's kind of just doing nothing for the longest time. Right, it's basically just consolidating it. Right, it comes down, then comes up really deep, comes down here as a bearish expansion candle, but then end up closing weak, then bullish again, then bearish down here, then a big ass retracement all the way up here. And I think when I got like here, I just moved break even. So like, all right, whatever. At this point, I don't want to take like I think it would be like a 0.2R like loss if it ended up coming back. So it's either 2R or break even. And yeah, we're just sitting in there, jerks around for a little bit, and then we kind of have like a random breakout, which that's kind of what I was expecting anyways. That's all I wanted to see. And move my stop over here. Get taken out for 2R. Check the copier. So this one, I had like the break even on gold, and then this is the only other trade really. So this one made 600, which is 2R. Then obviously the rest I already showed you. So that is it. I think I use my videos a lot for the technical analysis, but yeah, there wasn't that much today. It was pretty messy. You had to be pretty patient, and if you weren't trading RTY or YM, you probably wouldn't catch anything unless you waited for like 12 o'clock. An NQ, which we should have. So it just opened up early. So now it's kind of like maybe if we get a sequential SMT, maybe YM will drop. But I still don't know about ES, so some might make it here. We didn't really get the 30-minute. We didn't even like leave it for like rally gap. So for NQ, we have this 11 o'clock. Right, but to trade ES, I wanted a strength switch. Otherwise, I didn't want to take it. So I was thinking like if RTY got break even because it was just jerking so much that I could take ES, but probably not gonna happen. It's probably still gonna break SMT because it's all-time high market. Like it's probably gonna make new highs. But yeah, gold is just jerking as usual. GBP is, I think, a little bit closer to the low. Yeah, this would be a 2.6 hour trade if I actually took it. But obviously, we don't hit TP yet, so glad I stuck with indices. Gold, I don't know. That first loss is pretty stupid, just because it was so early in the morning. It had like obviously sequential SMT and everything, but it was just early, and then it wasn't like A plus. Like this reversal is not that convincing. Like I have this SMT. This is a decent expansion way, but we don't even like engulf this range. We don't even see a CSD until like all the way over here. So just pretty shitty. I probably could have waited longer, but it is what it is, and that is the day. So good stuff. Patience pays. If you didn't catch anything today, then no worries. Like today was pretty shit. Like this long technically would have been like the best trade of the day on NQ. Like I was just joking around, but like obviously you wanted to take the high, and it would have been done like what 2 hours earlier than I am. So, but yeah, it's not a real setup. But yeah, that's it for me, and I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we can keep it up. Tomorrow is a two-stage driver with 8:30 and 10 o'clock. I think it's like unemployment claims and like PMI at 9:45. So that means that it's usually gonna chop before 10. I'm just gonna be defensive and wait till 10, even on metals, because right now we're pretty much at starting balance, and I could even take like a $500 trade on this. I could risk max because we're basically at max drawdown. So I definitely want to make sure it's something A+, and hopefully we get some clean price action. But obviously for the last while, it really hasn't been on the intraday time frames. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, good stuff. I'll be back tomorrow.